So this crew's been around since 1967, and throughout the years that it's been in its existence, there's only been 3 seasons where it wasn't there wasn't a training development, leadership or training development. That portion of the crew has changed over the years. It used to be, the main emphasis of this crew when it first got going in '67 was, getting folks, that were going to be line officers like foresters and things like that, folks that are going to be district rangers, getting them fire experience, which is something that I think is extremely lacking in this day and age in the Forest Service. And so you have those people that, that are going to be in charge of these fire organizations, indirectly or directly, and they were on this crew and they were getting fire experience, and over the years that has changed to where it came to, this that small unit leadership, where in 2003 the emphasis of the crew changed to, fire folks, fire management, and then that small unit leadership. Because if you look at some of the, the past and even recent fatalities and near misses, those decisions on the ground were made at that small unit level, that squad level. There were key decisions made, and so that's where we come along with our development. I know, for us, sometimes as far as our line construction capability, it's probably not as efficient as other crews, because we're continuously building this, building the crew, and it's, a lot of crews will have people on a saw team together for 3 or 4 years, and we have folks that are together for like 3 or 4 shifts. We've done a good job of, once we identify a good saw team, we usually have them together just because it makes that, it makes the world go around a little easier for us once we do that. But yeah, I mean, the cool thing about our crew, everybody does every job. Everybody wants to run a saw. Everybody gets to run a tool. And again, it comes back to that. They kind of get an understanding of what's expected of everybody. So yeah, I think we do a really good job of getting of going out and putting out a good product. That's the thing for us. I mean, it's a struggle sometimes. We have another good saying between the overhead. We're always putting our patience hats on. That's the biggest thing for us. Is sometimes, we know what we want. We expect how we want something to look, and then we have to really go down and really talk about it. But we're finding more of the folks we're getting have a lot of crew time. So they've actually spent time on crews, which in the past it wasn't like that. It was a lot different scene here. So, but no, it's a fun group to run. It's fun. So I get a lot of for me with this crew. I get a lot of value out of watching them learn how hotshot crews operate. That's one of the big things for me, because I know a lot of these folks are going to go off, and not all of them. We do have quite a few that go into, that they do a season here, and then at the end of the season, they come into my office and they're like, okay, so I'm never going back to my engine. I have to be on a hotshot crew. This is it. I'm done. This is what I want to do for the rest of my career. And then there's some folks that they come here, they do a great job for us, and then they realize that, hey, this isn't for them. But the cool thing is that they get to go back to their engine, or they go back to their helitac module, or they go back to their fuels job, or they go back to their, the best example are the folks that aren't in fire. The folks that go, we had a guy on the crew in 2012 who was a forester, and he was really into prescribed fire, but he had a really negative, I don't want to say negative, but it wasn't like super negative, but it was this negative like outlook on how teams and how fires went and how things went. Well, when he spent a season here, all his questions were answered by the end, and he really understood why we didn't why we didn't take the fire here, and why we didn't do this, and why we did do that, and why we did do this. So that's the biggest thing for me is when the folks go back to their modules and they have a good understanding of what what hotshot crews do and what hotshot crews can do for them. So when they end up becoming, division chiefs or divisions on fires or operations, and I'm working for them, they understand what is, what they can expect out of a crew. So that's one of the big things for me is that I get a lot of value out of that. And just getting, the other big thing for me is getting the job done. That's the, meeting the objectives of the, of the incident management team or whoever we're working for. When the crew gets that, when the crew does that and they do well, that I get a lot of satisfaction out of it.